Their son's head was not forming properly, the brain almost non-existent. Miraculously, Jackson survived. He's now just over a year old.
Birth usually follows a pattern. Safe, simple, understood. But sometimes, that pattern shatters completely.
No, otra vez.
What begins as routine turns into something doctors have never faced before. No textbook, no playbook, just the raw reality of a life no one thought was possible. These stories are rare, unforgettable, and absolutely real. Join us as we reveal 18 of the strangest babies ever born. Number 18. Grayson Smith. Doctors had seen every condition in the book until the first kid on our list was born, and they had to write a new one. Grayson Cole Smith was born on February 15, 2013, in Heflin, Alabama. And within moments, doctors knew they were witnessing something they had never seen before. Grayson came into the world with 22 different birth defects. His skull didn't fully form. His heart had a hole. His facial structure was severely affected, and at birth, he was completely blind and deaf. Geneticists ran test after test, but nothing matched. There was no name for what Grayson had, so they named it after him. Grayson syndrome. He was one of one. Doctors didn't expect him to live longer than 2 weeks. But Grayson had other plans. By the time he turned 6, he had survived 36 surgeries. One of them used pieces of his ribs to reconstruct his skull. He endured procedures on his heart, spine, jaw, and more. And incredibly, he eventually gained both his sight and hearing. Grayson loved motorcycles. In 2019, as he traveled to a medical appointment in St. Louis, a biker group called Bikers Who Care surprised him in Tennessee with a parade of roaring bikes. His joy was unforgettable, but life also brought heartbreak. When Grayson was just 3, a photo of him was stolen and turned into a cruel meme online. His mother, Jenny, fought back fiercely, speaking out against bullying and raising awareness about children with rare conditions.
Sing your ABCs.
Grayson kept fighting for 8 years. Through hospital stays, setbacks, and surgeries, he smiled, laughed, and brought people together. On July 31st, 2021, Grayson passed away peacefully. Number 17. Dorothy Montgomery. On February 12, 2024, Dorothy Montgomery was born in Wiltshire, United Kingdom. And to everyone's shock, most of her internal organs weren't inside her body. Her stomach, intestines, liver, kidneys, ovaries, and fallopian tubes were all exposed. She had a rare condition called gastroschisis, where the abdominal wall doesn't form properly during pregnancy. Her mother, Sadie, had learned something was wrong during her 12-week scan. Doctors first suspected exomphalos, but later confirmed it was a severe case of gastroschisis. They warned Sadie to prepare for the worst, but Dorothy wasn't giving up. When she was born, Dorothy weighed just 4 pounds. Her organs were immediately wrapped in cling film to protect them. Then she was rushed to Southampton Hospital, where the medical team took a completely non-surgical approach. Instead of operating, they placed all of her organs into a special silicone bag and gently used gravity and compression to ease them back into her abdomen. No cutting, no stitches, no surgery. To close the opening, doctors used nothing more than steri strips over her umbilical cord, and within 2 weeks, her body did the rest. Her skin naturally closed around her organs. Today, Dorothy is thriving. No signs of complications, no long-term damage. Her recovery shocked even the medical team. Her story is now being called a modern medical miracle. In cases like gastroschisis, surgery is almost always necessary. But Dorothy made history by healing without a single operation. Number 16. Abigail Rose Bitler. When Jamie Bitler, a sitting U.S. Congresswoman at the time, was just 20 weeks pregnant, an ultrasound revealed something devastating. Her unborn daughter had Potter syndrome, a rare condition caused by bilateral renal agenesis, meaning the baby had no kidneys at all. Without kidneys, there's no amniotic fluid, and without that, the lungs can't develop. Doctors told Jamie there was nothing they could do. Her baby would be stillborn, but Jamie refused to accept that. After intense research, she found Dr. Jessica Beanstalk at Johns Hopkins Hospital, who agreed to try a rarely used procedure called serial amnio infusion. Starting at 23 weeks, doctors injected sterile saline into her womb every few days to replace the missing fluid. Over the course of 5 treatments, the baby's lungs slowly began to grow. At just 28 weeks, Abigail Rose Bitler was born, premature, weighing under 3 pounds, but breathing on her own. That alone stunned the medical world. After birth, Abigail was transferred to Lucile Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford, where she began peritoneal dialysis. For months, nurses manually changed her dialysis fluids every 30 minutes, around the clock. When she turned 2.5, Abigail received a life-saving kidney transplant from her father, Dan.
No kidneys meant she wasn't producing amniotic fluid, and without it, her lungs and other organs couldn't develop.
That surgery transformed her future. Today, Abigail is a vibrant child who rides horses, practices archery, and lives a full, joyful life. Her case directly led to the creation of Stanford's Nephro-NICU, a unit dedicated to babies with kidney failure. Number 15. Ibra. The parents of the next baby prepared for the worst, but nothing could have prepared them for her. Ibra's birth shocked even the most experienced doctors in Winnipeg. The moment she came into the world, it was clear something was terribly wrong. Her tiny head had a large bulge. Part of her brain was growing outside her skull. The condition is called encephalocele, and it happens in roughly 1 out of every 12,000 births. In Ibra's case, it was one of the most severe they had ever seen. Her parents were refugees from Syria. They had escaped war, hoping for peace and safety in Canada. But just months into their new life, they were told their unborn baby had almost no chance of survival. They refused to give up. When Ibra was 5 months old, a team of surgeons performed a 9-hour operation to move her exposed brain back into her skull. The risks were terrifying. Doctors gave her a 50% chance of surviving. But against all odds, Ibra pulled through. After the surgery, she was placed in intensive care. For the first time, she could breathe without machines. Encephalocele often leads to lifelong challenges like seizures and delayed development, but thanks to early surgery and ongoing care, Ibra's future looks brighter every day. Number 14. Manar Mog. In March of 2004, in a small village in Egypt, Manar Mog came into the world under circumstances no doctor could have predicted. From the moment she was born, everyone in the delivery room froze, because attached to the top of her head was another head. It could blink, smile, and move its lips, but it had no body, no heart, and no brain of its own. Manar had a condition so rare, only 10 cases have ever been documented in medical history. It's called craniopagus parasiticus, a parasitic twin that develops when an embryo starts to split into identical twins but doesn't finish. Manar's twin, later named Islam, never formed fully, but her head remained, fused to Manar's skull. For 10 months, Manar's family cared for both faces, loving 2 daughters in one fragile body, but the extra head was draining her strength. She struggled to breathe, feed, and grow. Doctors at Benha Children's Hospital, just outside Cairo, knew that to save Manar, they had to attempt the impossible. On February 19, 2005, 13 surgeons performed a marathon 13-hour surgery to separate the two. They carefully disconnected shared blood vessels and rebuilt Manar's skull. The surgery was a success. Manar survived. Her story made headlines around the world. She appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show. She smiled. She ate on her own. And for a moment, there was hope. But complications followed. Manar developed hydrocephalus, fluid buildup in the brain. Doctors placed a valve to drain it, but an infection set in. On March 26, 2006, just days before her second birthday, Manar passed away. Number 13. Shiloh Pepin.
Shiloh Pepin was known for her big smile, boisterous attitude, and amazing courage.
Shiloh Pepin was born on August 4, 1999, in Maine, with one of the rarest medical conditions ever seen. It's called cyanomelia, but most people know it as mermaid syndrome. Her legs were fused together like a tail, making her look like a living mermaid. But her condition went far beyond appearance. Shiloh was born with no bladder, no rectum, no uterus, and just 6 inches of large intestine. She had only one partially working kidney. Doctors believed she wouldn't survive more than a few days.
She battled a rare disease that left her 2 legs fused together.
But Shiloh had other plans. At just 2 years old, she underwent her first kidney transplant. Her second came in 2007. She lived on dialysis, went through more than 150 surgeries, and still never had her legs separated, unlike other Sirenomylia survivors. And yet, through all this, she lived with an energy that made her unforgettable. Shiloh went to school, made friends, and even appeared on national TV. She was featured on TLC's Extraordinary People and The Oprah Winfrey Show. What made her stand out wasn't just her condition, it was her sense of humor, her bright spirit, and the way she faced life without fear. Sadly, on October 23, 2009, Shiloh passed away from pneumonia. She was just 10 years old, but in that short time, she touched hearts around the world. Shiloh Pepin didn't just survive a condition most babies don't live through, she lived it boldly, and she did it on her terms. Number 12. Jackson Buell. The next kid wasn't supposed to make it through the night, but that's not how this story goes. Born on August 27, 2014, in Orlando, Florida, Jackson was diagnosed with microhydranencephaly, a rare condition where approximately 80% of the brain is missing. Doctors discovered this at 17 weeks into his mother's pregnancy and offered termination, but his parents, Brandon and Brittany Buell, chose to continue.
Doctors did not expect him to live more than a few hours or days.
At birth, Jackson lacked most of his skull, and his umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. Despite predictions that he wouldn't survive beyond a few hours, he lived for 5.5 years. Jackson couldn't walk or talk, but he communicated through eye contact and sounds. His parents documented his life on a Facebook page called Jackson Strong, which gained over 200,000 followers. A GoFundMe campaign raised over $100,000 for his medical expenses. He faced constant seizures and was fed through a tube. Despite these challenges, his parents described him as their miracle baby and hero. Jackson passed away peacefully on April 1, 2020, in North Carolina, surrounded by family. His father expressed pride in his son's strength and the impact he had on others. Number 11. Isla Kilpatrick Screeton. Isla Kilpatrick Screeton was born in February 2017 in Leicester, England. She looked tiny, fragile, and different, but no one could have predicted just how rare her condition truly was. After endless tests, doctors discovered Isla had a form of mandibuloacral dysplasia, a condition that causes accelerated aging. But her version? It had never been seen before. She became the only known person in the world with this specific mutation. At birth, Isla weighed 5 pounds and 10 ounces. Within days, her life was already at risk. She was placed in an induced coma for 5 days due to severe breathing difficulties. Then, at only 6 days old, she suddenly choked at home, leading to a medical emergency and another fight for survival. The condition affects almost every part of Isla's life. Her jaw is smaller than normal, her airways are dangerously narrow, and her tongue rests far back in her mouth, making it hard for her to breathe. Doctors had to perform a tracheotomy to help her breathe safely. Eating is impossible by mouth, so she's fed through a gastrostomy tube in her stomach. Even with all these challenges, Isla is full of spirit. She crawls, plays, and communicates using Makaton Sign Language, since her condition also limits speech. Her parents, Stacy and Kyle, care for her full-time, juggling up to 6 medical appointments a week with a team of over a dozen specialists. Isla also has an older sister, Paige, who's 7. The family is tight-knit, hopeful, and proud of Isla's courage. While her condition isn't classified as life-limiting, her future remains uncertain, because no one's ever walked this exact path before. But Isla is walking it anyway, one milestone at a time. She's living proof that rare doesn't mean hopeless, and that joy can exist even in the unknown. Number 10. Vanalope Hope Wilkins. Imagine being born with your heart outside your chest, literally. That's the extraordinary beginning of Vanalope Hope Wilkins' life. At a 9-week prenatal scan, doctors discovered that Vanalope had ectopia cordis, a rare condition where the heart develops outside the chest cavity.
This baby was born with her heart on the outside of her body.
Her parents, Naomi Findlay and Dean Wilkins from Nottinghamshire, were advised to consider termination due to the condition's grim prognosis, but they chose hope. Born 3 weeks early on November 22, 2017, at Glenfield Hospital in Leicester, Vanalope's heart was outside her body, and she lacked a breastbone. Immediately after birth, she was placed in a sterile plastic bag to prevent infection and keep her organs moist. Within an hour, a team of 50 medical professionals performed the first of 3 surgeries to reposition her heart inside her chest. Over the next 2 weeks, gravity aided in settling her heart into place. The final surgery involved grafting skin from under her arms to cover her chest, as she lacked ribs and a sternum. Vanalope's survival is unprecedented in the UK for this condition, which occurs in approximately 1 in 126,000 births and has a survival rate of less than 10%. Her parents named her after a character from the film Wreck-It Ralph, symbolizing resilience and hope. Number 9. Charlotte Garside. Charlotte Garside entered the world in 2007 in Withernsea, East Yorkshire, weighing just over 1 pound. She was so tiny that her head was the size of a golf ball, and her mother, Emma Newman, could carry her around in the front pocket of her hoodie. Diapers the size of a credit card were too big for her. Charlotte was diagnosed with a rare form of primordial dwarfism called Majewski osteodysplastic primordial dwarfism type 2. This condition affects only about 100 people worldwide and results in a proportionally small body size. At 2 years old, she stood at 58 centimeters tall and weighed approximately 3.55 kilograms. Doctors predicted she might not grow taller than 61 centimeters. Despite her size, Charlotte's personality was anything but small. Her mother described her as having a big personality, and her sister Chloe noted that Charlotte was quite scrappy and doesn't sit still for a second. She began attending public school at the age of 5, with a personal tutor to assist her. Her learning age was assessed at 3 years, which was higher than expected. Charlotte's condition also led to health challenges, including immune system issues and cysts on her liver. She was fed a milk formula through a gastric tube due to difficulties with eating and digestion. Her family dressed her in doll's clothes because even premature baby clothes were too large. Charlotte's story gained international attention, and she was featured in a documentary titled Extraordinary People, the Tiniest Girl in the World. Number 8. Emily Dover. Imagine being just 4 years old and already experiencing the challenges of puberty, acne, body odor, even menstruation. This was the reality for Emily Dover, a young girl from Australia whose body began maturing at an astonishingly early age. Emily's rapid development started mere weeks after birth. At just 4 months old, she grew 4 centimeters in a single week and was already the size of a 1-year-old. At 2 years old, she developed breasts, body odor, and cystic acne. By age 3, she exhibited excess body hair. At 4, she began menstruating, and by 5, she was showing signs of menopause. Medical evaluations revealed that Emily's hormone levels were equivalent to those of a pregnant woman. She was diagnosed with several rare conditions: central precocious puberty, causing early onset puberty, Addison's disease, affecting hormone production, and congenital adrenal hyperplasia, impacting adrenal gland function. These conditions led to chronic pain, swelling in her joints, and a bone age significantly advanced compared to her actual age. By 7, Emily wore clothing sizes intended for teenagers and weighed over 10 stone. Despite these challenges, Emily remains a resilient and joyful child. Her family has been her unwavering support, advocating for her health and well-being. They initiated a GoFundMe campaign to manage the substantial medical expenses, including hormone therapy injections costing over $1,000 each. Number 7. Runa Begum. Runa Begum was born in a small village in Tripura, India, with hydrocephalus, a condition where cerebrospinal fluid builds up in the brain.
Runa Begum came to the world's attention when pictures emerged of her needing medical help,
causing extreme swelling. By 18 months, her head measured 94 centimeters in circumference, making it impossible for her to sit upright or crawl. Her parents, Abdul Rahman and Fatima Khatun, were daily wage laborers earning less than $3 a day. Unable to afford treatment, they watched helplessly as their daughter's condition worsened. A photograph of Runa taken by a journalist went viral, sparking international attention. 2 Norwegian students, moved by her plight, launched an online campaign that raised over $50,000 for her treatment. In 2013, Runa was admitted to Fortis Memorial Research Institute in Delhi. Over the next few years, she underwent multiple surgeries, reducing her head size to 58 centimeters.
Now Dr. Vaisha is hoping to perform more surgery to reduce the size of Runa's head.
Doctors installed a shunt to drain excess fluid, and Runa began to show signs of improvement. Despite these efforts, Runa faced ongoing health challenges. In June 2017, at the age of 5, she developed breathing difficulties and passed away before she could undergo further surgery. Runa's story was later documented in the Netflix film Rooting for Runa. Number 6. Connie Lloyd. The next kid on our list was born with what looked like a clown nose, but it wasn't funny. Connie Lloyd entered the world in September 2008, seemingly healthy, until a small red mark appeared on her nose. Within weeks, it grew into a large, bright lump about 4 centimeters wide. Doctors diagnosed it as a hemangioma, a non-cancerous tumor made of blood vessels. But it wasn't just growing outward, it was pushing inward too, threatening her airways and posing serious risks. Her parents, Zara and Tom, were told that even a small bump could lead to dangerous bleeding. And as Connie got older, the challenges weren't just medical. Strangers stared. Other children poked. One photographer even asked if they should digitally erase her nose from a school photo. At 18 months old, Connie began taking propranolol, a heart medication that helped reduce the tumor's growth, but the lump remained large and red. So at 2.5 years old, she underwent surgery at the Royal London Hospital. The operation removed the hemangioma safely, and when Connie saw herself afterward, she smiled and said her nose looked like her mom's. Now a teenager, Connie wears a small scar with pride. She's spoken out about living with a visible difference and is helping others learn to accept what makes them unique. Number 5. Oliver Brown. Imagine holding your newborn and noticing a birthmark so unique it resembles a pair of angel wings gracefully spread across his back. This was the reality for Oliver Brown's parents. Born in the United Kingdom, Oliver entered the world with a rare skin condition known as congenital melanocytic naivety, or CMN. This condition results in large, pigmented moles or birthmarks. In Oliver's case, the markings spanned from his hairline, across his shoulder blades, and down to the middle of his back, creating an image reminiscent of feathered wings. CMN affects approximately 1 in every 100 individuals. While many cases are benign, larger or multiple naivety can carry risks. For Oliver, regular medical checkups every 3 months were essential to monitor any changes. Doctors advised his parents to protect his skin from sun exposure using sunsuits and prescription sunscreen, as UV rays could increase the risk of skin complications. Beyond the aesthetic, there were health concerns. In rare instances, CMN can lead to neurological issues if the pigmentation affects the brain or spine. Number 4. Ben Underwood. Imagine navigating a bustling world without sight, yet perceiving every obstacle, every corner, through sound alone. This was the remarkable reality of Ben Underwood. Born in 1992 in Riverside, California, Ben was diagnosed with retinoblastoma, a rare eye cancer, at the age of 2. To prevent the cancer from spreading, both of his eyes were surgically removed by the time he was 3.
His mother tells KCRA3 tonight that Ben died from a recurrence of cancer.
Determined to lead a normal life, Ben developed an extraordinary skill: human echolocation. By producing clicking sounds with his tongue and interpreting the returning echoes, he could identify the location and shape of objects around him. This ability allowed him to perform activities typically reserved for the sighted, such as rollerblading, playing basketball, and even engaging in video games. Ben's talents garnered national attention, leading to appearances on shows like The Oprah Winfrey Show and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. His story inspired many, demonstrating that limitations are often a matter of perception. Tragically, The same cancer that claimed his sight returned, and Ben passed away in 2009, just days before his 17th birthday. His legacy lives on through the Ben Underwood Foundation and the memoir Echoes of an Angel, penned by his mother, Aquanetta Gordon. Number 3. Pan Xian Hang. Imagine waking up every day trapped in skin that feels like it's made of scales. That's the reality for Pan Xian Hang, a boy from Wenling, China, who was born with a rare genetic condition called ichthyosis. This disease causes his skin to become thick, dry, and scaly, resembling fish scales, which has led locals to nickname him Fish Boy. Pan's condition is severe. The scales cover his entire body, affecting the shape of his eyes, nose, mouth, and ears, and limiting the movement of his arms and legs. He experiences constant itching and pain, making it difficult for him to sleep at night. Additionally, the disease impairs his ability to sweat, putting him at risk of overheating. The thickened skin also makes him susceptible to infections, which can be dangerous if not treated properly.
Okay, so since I love medical science so much, let's talk about Xian Hang. He's 8 years old and he's from a Chinese village. He is covered from head to toe in dry, scaly skin.
There is no known cure for ichthyosis. Treatment focuses on managing symptoms, primarily through the regular application of creams, oils, and moisturizers to hydrate the skin and prevent it from cracking. These measures are essential to reduce discomfort and the risk of infection. Number 2. Tessa Evans. Tessa Evans was born on Valentine's Day in 2013 in Northern Ireland, and right from the start, doctors were stunned. She had no nose, not a flat nose, not a damaged one, literally no nose at all. No nasal bones, no cavities, just smooth skin where a nose should have been.
Tessa is 2. Energetic, enthusiastic, unlike any other healthy girl.
Her condition is so rare, fewer than 100 people in the world are known to have it. It's called Bosma-Arrhynia microphthalmia syndrome, and it doesn't just affect the nose. It can impact vision, breathing, and even brain development. But Tessa, she came out full of life. Doctors quickly gave her a tracheostomy so she could breathe and feed safely. Her parents, Grania and Nathan, refused to hide her. They made it clear Tessa's difference wouldn't define her. At just 2 years old, she became the first person in history to receive a cosmetic 3D printed nasal implant.
Cosmetic aspect of it with how you feel society is going to react and
inserted beneath her forehead skin to start shaping the space for a future nose. As she grows, new implants will be added, and one day, surgeons will open the skin and create her nose permanently. She's had multiple surgeries, faced infections, and even had her tear ducts removed to stop bacteria from attacking the implant. But through it all, Tessa's personality shines. She's confident, she's fun, she loves animals, music, and jumping on trampolines. Her family shares her journey online to raise awareness and normalize facial differences. Number 1. Paisley. Paisley. Morrison Johnson entered the world with a rare genetic condition called Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome, BWS, which causes parts of the body to grow larger than normal. In Paisley's case, her tongue was so enlarged that it filled her oral cavity, making it difficult for her to breathe and eat. Her mother, Madison Keno, noticed during ultrasounds that her baby appeared to be sticking out her tongue. It wasn't until Paisley was born that doctors realized the severity of her condition. She was immediately placed on a ventilator and later diagnosed with BWS. At just 3 months old, Paisley underwent her first tongue reduction surgery. However, the tongue grew back, necessitating a second surgery that removed 6 inches of muscle. After this procedure, Paisley smiled for the first time and began to eat without assistance. BWS can also cause other complications, such as an increased risk of certain cancers. Paisley requires regular monitoring to ensure early detection of any potential issues. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.